This move-by-move analysis is designed for aspiring players, helping you build strategic and positional thinking in chess. The key ideas inspected are development, center control, piece activity, king safety. e4, pawn to the center, open up the bishop and queen. e5, black claims share of the center and prepares development. Knight f3, developing a piece, increasing central control and getting closer to castling. d6, a timid move, black supports central pawn but does not develop a piece. Bishop c4, another piece developed, increasing central control and eyeing the weak f7 square. Also prepares castling. h6, another pawn move without developing a piece. Perhaps black has had bad memories with fried liver attack. However, developing cannot be ignored. Castles. Now white king is safe, with lead in development and black king stuck in the center. White is ready to attack. Knight f6, first piece developed, increases central control and targets white e4 pawn. Pawn to d4, white begins operations in the center. Black's lack of development has consequences. Imagine if the central pawns were gone. What is the position like? Who would benefit from that? Black position is worse, but not losing. Playing passively leads down the path of narrower and narrower options. Only move to not worsen the position further is to continue development with knight b to d7. There, the knight will increase support on the e5 square. But that is not a move that one would like to make. It does develop, but blocks in the light-squared bishop, and the nature of the resulting position is cramped, passive. On c6, the knight would have more scope and influence over the center. The diagram shows how many squares on the board a knight will influence, if placed on that square. The c6 square gives the knight more activity, thus, on principle, that is the more desired square. However, that is no longer an option for black. If knight c6 now, then exchanges follow on d5. Queens get traded, and here lies the problem for black. If king takes, then f7 pawn falls. If knight takes, then e5 falls. And there is no knight takes e4, as rook e1 leads to swift disaster. If knight takes e4, immediately, similar disaster strikes. Black chose to exchange in the center, but this worsens the position. White does not recapture, but insists on opening the center with e5, aiming to rip open the center and expose the black monarch. Black's best option is knight to g4, which leads to a worse, but still playable position after the exchanges. Capturing the pawn leads to disaster. White pieces become too active right in front of the black king. Thus, black tries knight f to d7. White maintains the pressure, once again insisting on opening the e-file with e6. F takes e6, bishop recaptures. Now the e-file is open. Black's pieces are severely underdeveloped, and king is exposed. This is a losing position now for black. Let us see how white maintains the pressure and brings forth the collapse of black's position. Knight f6, aiming to exchange the bishops and alleviate the pressure. Rook e1, another piece becomes active, aligning the cannon with the black king. Bishop e7, developing, protecting the king. Since black no longer has f-pawn, the king is critically exposed on the light squares. White aims to take advantage of this. When there is a weakness in opponent's position, it is ideal to pressure that weakness to the fullest. White's queen would very much enjoy entering the action through weak light squares. If the black knight would not be defending h5, white queen would enter. In fact, if both knights on the f-file would be exchanged, this would lead to a checkmate. Thus, white plays knight takes d4, opening up the queen's sight and eyeing the f5 square to further infiltrate black's position with bad intentions. Knight to c6, developing, aiming to exchange pieces. In general, when under pressure, exchanging the active attacking pieces is a solid idea. White is not interested in exchanging the active knight, instead makes it more active. Knight to f5. Bishop takes bishop. Yes, a powerful attacking piece is exchanged, but with tactical play, white increases board domination. Intermezzo, an in-between move, knight takes pawn check with a fork. White must now finish developing the remaining pieces, but do so while maintaining pressure against black's position. Black's knight on c6 is covering the h5 square, otherwise an immediate knockout is available. Thus, white aims to exchange this knight. Knight to c3. Knight to e5, severing the connection between white's knight on e6 and the rook's support. Knight to f4. This move is harmonious with white's plans in the position. Both white knights are now eyeing the c5 square to remove the c6 knight. Pawn to c6. Black defends the d5 square. Knight to e4. Activating the knight further, eyeing the c6 knight, increasing pressure on the d6 pawn. Rook to g8. Black is looking for counterplay. Activates rook and aligns it against the white king. Now it is time to remove the c6 knight and enable the queen's entry into the attack. It feels black is close to collapse, but how to continue? There is a famous quote of Bobby Fischer that goes like, "Tactics flow from a superior position." The position on the board looks and feels like the white pieces are incredibly active. Thus, a forced combination likely exists. Indeed, rook to e6. Black pieces are tied up. No more meaningful moves exist. The knight is pinned, attacked twice directly and x-rayed by the rook. You know the situation is quite disastrous when the best move in the position for black is queen takes rook. Let's say black plays rook to g7. How do you finish the game? There are many moves that are winning, but queen to f5 is the cleanest. Now, black's bishop is about to fall. There is but a one direct defensive try with queen to d8, but after knight to h5, it's the end of the road. This was an example on the importance of piece development, center control, and king safety. Move by move, thank you for watching, and see you soon.